Hey guys, how's it going? Miso here, back with another Epic 7 video. I'm sorry I look like a complete mess right now, but I've been in quarantine for the past month and I haven't gotten my hair cut. Barbers aren't open, though technically I could get a haircut if I wanted to. My barber that I used to go to for like 13 years would probably do it for me. She did it for my mom, so she'd probably do it for me as well. But I don't really see a point in it or a need for it because I'm not really seeing anybody right now. Not going outside, nobody to impress. So yeah, but let's get into the video. Right now on the screen I'm just doing some catalyst farming because that I'm trying to build Mursa for my defense team in Guild Wars, and also it's what is it, like 1.5 drop for the AP for side story, so that's why I'm doing that. And I'm not using any fodder because I'm too lazy to switch out the fodder every like 2 or 3 rounds, so just gunning it forward and leveling Destina, who I pulled recently. Got lucky with her, caught her in like 15 pulls, 10-15 pulls, something like that. But on to the main topic. So today we are talking about Dizzy and why I personally think you should probably wait on pulling her. Now, first off, I'm going to lead in by saying that Dizzy is an extremely good unit. She's really good in PvP. She's really good in PvE. You definitely wouldn't regret pulling for her. If you have the resources, that is. If you're like, either somebody who's going to pay for it or somebody who has an abundance of bookmarks, I definitely think that she's a good unit and you wouldn't regret pulling for her, or you wouldn't regret having her, rather. And why do I say that you should wait on her if I say that you wouldn't regret it? Well, so Elfeld is coming out soon, right? In about 2 weeks, she's going to get released. But the problem is we haven't got any information on her other than the fact that she is a fire ranger. And that's very important, and I'll go into that in a little bit. So we don't have any information on her, but Dizzy is really good. But I think you should hold, because while Dizzy is really good, she's not as good as she used to be. Going back a year ago when she was released, basically you saw her everywhere. You saw her in PvE, PvP, defense, offense, everywhere. She was nuts. Everybody thought she was absolutely busted because she was, and people kept complaining. And because of that, because she was so busted, over time, Smilegate came out with counters. They came out with Champ Zerato, and then they reworked him to make it so that Dizzy didn't her mischance didn't affect him. They came out with units like DJ Basar, who cleansed and gave immunity. They had Destina already in the game. They released Lilius. All these units that counter very strong debuffs that Dizzy gave were released. And because of that, these days you really don't see her all that often. You'll probably see her a lot in Guild Wars offense in the top tier, but defense, not really. Nowhere in Guild Wars defense, nowhere in arena defense. If you look at the top, arena teams, she's not anywhere to be seen. And that's because of all these counters. And also the fact that we now have stronger gear, we have stronger units now. We're able to clear A13, back then A11, a lot more. So we have the immunity gear now that also, we have good stats behind that immunity gear. So all these things really come in and counter Dizzy. And because of that, she's just seen a lot less, used a lot less in PvP. So just not as relevant as she was back in the day. Now she's still really good. A lot of people still use her for Guild Wars offense, but she's definitely kind of a not as entertaining unit. Kind of slower pace, because really all she does is debuff and slow and control, which is a lot, but it kind of stalls out the game and makes it slower. It's kind of like, for me, I don't have decores for one, but 2, I probably wouldn't use them that often unless I needed to, because the gameplay, in my opinion, is just slow and boring. and which is the same thing for Dizzy gameplay. But that being said, like I said before, she's still a really, really, really good unit. I think that you wouldn't regret pulling her, especially if you're early on and need her to help, because she is kind of like a crutch. She helps you make a lot of content, basically hit like wet noodles, and she'll help you clear a lot of early on and mid-game content. But where like end game, where I am now, I really rarely use her, and I actually recently stripped her because I rarely use her. Now, at some point I'll probably re-gear her, put her on speed gear instead of counter gear, but I just, don't use her as much anymore. And that kind of leads me into the next reason why I think you should be holding on pulling Dizzy. And important to note that I said hold. And that's because of Elphelt. So they haven't really let us know about Elphelt at all. They haven't said what she does, all we know is that she's a Fire Ranger. Now, the reason why this is really important, the fact that she's a Fire Ranger, is because I think that Smilegate might be trying to push fire units up, make them better. There've been a lot of changes to fire units, a lot of additions to good fire units, Carrick, Lilius, all those changes to Tenebria. And Tenebria in this meta, that's pretty hard for her to do well, this water/earth meta. Technically it's more of an earth meta, but still there's a lot of good water units out there, especially with SSB. She doesn't do very well, but you still see her a lot because she's just an absolutely crazy unit. She does so much. She can do damage, she disables, she slows, she does everything. Now, if there was a fire meta, she'd be absolutely busted. And I think that Smilegate is trying to bring on make fire units more relevant, which is why I think that Elphelt is going to be absolutely busted. And the fact that she's a ranger is probably going to make her even more busted because of her artifact. So they're trying to push a fire meta for one. So she's probably going to be really good. She needs to be really good in order to make a fire meta work. And she's a limited unit, so usually limited units are really good. Now, the part about being a ranger is especially important because I looked at the ranger artifacts. I've been trying to build Cerise, who was a limited unit who has seen some play, especially in arena defense to counter cleave teams, but she really isn't absolutely busted like Dizzy or SSB. But I was looking for artifacts for her, and I realized that there really just aren't that many good ranger artifacts out there. You have like Song of Stars for a support unit. You have Drink is the most busted thing out there, but really only used by a couple heroes, mainly SSB. But really there's not many good artifacts out there, and for that reason I think they're gonna have to make Elphelt's artifact also extremely busted. So extremely busted unit, extremely busted artifact, pushing out a fire meta. Now those are the reason why I think that you should hold, because I think she's gonna be really good. But there's a bright spot on this for you guys who do have limited resources and want both, or maybe still really want Dizzy. They usually do announce things a couple days in advance, a day, at least a day in advance to when the unit comes out. So I'd say hold on Dizzy and then pull for Dizzy if Elphelt isn't that great, or maybe is you're early in the game and not really into PvP. You can pull Dizzy for PvE and she'll still be really good in PvP too. But think about what you need. If she's an absolute monster in PvP but you need PvE, maybe pull Dizzy instead of Elphelt, and maybe you'll get lucky with Elphelt, who knows. But I'd say hold, wait until more information comes out, and then pull on Dizzy if you think that you don't need Elphelt. Or, pull on both if you have enough resources for both. That's what I already have Dizzy. I had Dizzy from last year. But yeah, that's about it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.